9-2 in September. How about that? How you like me now? Say the Blue Jays to every other team that was hating on them.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
How about the catcher output from the Blue Jays? Best in baseball. I don't think there's a conversation. We're going to talk about all that and more. It's Locked On Blue Jays. It's right now.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Matt Bonaparte, Ben Shulman with you on a wonderful Monday morning. Thanks for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And we're talking about the Blue Jays on this wonderful Monday. They took down the Rangers in a 3-game set, took 2 out of 3 in Texas in the big Home Depot ballpark. The new one, I wonder if it's nice inside. I still got to somehow get there.
Yeah, my dad seemed to like it. He told me.
Okay, that's good. Jays win games 1 and 2, lose game 3 to my scary Martin Perez, who allows 1 run. Just give myself that own credibility. Gotta keep that up. What's your storyline here, Shulman?
My storyline is you did it, but you didn't make it fun. I mean, at the end of the day, wins are wins. But like they blow the 3-1 lead they had in the first game, and in a way, you make it more fun because you got to go and knock in a run in the ninth, and Jansen does that, and you win that game. And then you go, up 4-0. Now it's 4-3. Up 11-3. Now it's 11-7 in game 2, which like just never allowed it to be as relaxed as it could have been. So it's not. We have to nitpick a little bit right now. When they were really actually playing poorly, it's a lot easier to come down on something. So at the end of the day, it's not a big deal, but it would have been nicer if once they had kind of stretched out some of these leads, they just really battened the hatches down. And it was a mix of guys. It was Gosman giving up runs, and it was a couple different bullpen guys, some high leverage, some low leverage. So some you care about and some you don't care about. But at the end of the day, they did win the games. They just didn't necessarily play awesome baseball all 9 innings.
Yes, I see where you're coming from. The only guy that was making it exciting was a man I will get to in a second. But first, I'll give you my storyline. Storyline for this series is glad to see you started doing yourself some favors because the Jays had been dropping series to bad teams previously this season, and it's good that they're going on the road and they're taking care of business against teams that have no business beating them in teams like the Rangers. So I'm glad that they take a series from the Rangers. Would have liked to sweep, but that's fine. And now they go back home with some momentum after a series win and a 9-2 record in all of September, 8-2 road trip for them. So I'm just glad to see that they finally started beating the bad teams because we've seen them too many times this season really battle it out and stay strong and stay above water against the good teams and then finally get a break against the bad teams and seemingly take the foot off the gas pedal and lose those games like they did against the Angels at home not too long ago. So I'm glad that they went on the road, they kept that foot on the gas, and they took care of business in Arlington.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like the Angels was, I mean, I'm still not happy about it, but it's almost like it was a necessary kick in the butt or something because
Maybe.
since that Angels series, they've gone 10-3. If my quick math is correct, it is. So, like, yeah, I mean, you still wonder if you go back to like when they took 3 out of 4 from the Yanks, if they had done well in that Angels series, you'd be looking at like a 30-game stretch right now where they'd be like 25-5. But instead, they got swept by the Angels. So that is what it is. But yeah, they have been taking care of business more. It was really upsetting when they weren't before because I had kind of been in their corner when they hadn't played that many weak teams. And, their weak part of their schedule was originally supposed to be Baltimore, which it was for a lot of people at the beginning of the year and then became not a weak part of your schedule at all. But now that they're actually doing it, that's good, because they don't have that many easy series left. It's pretty much all going to be people in and around the playoff picture. The worst team they play for the rest of the season is Boston.
Yeah. So that was kind of the last break they got. All right. Well, what is or who was your MVP from the series?
My MVP was the dude. I hate myself for not doubling down. Like I had named this guy MVP 2 series ago, then made him my hype train, then named him MVP last series, and I was like, I can't make him my hype train again. What are the odds? Incredibly high, apparently, that Bo Bichette is the most valuable player again. He was really, really good at the plate again. His 6 hits tied for the most on the team in the series. Of his 6 hits, 5 were extra base hits. He had a double, or pardon me, he had 3 doubles, a triple, and another homer. I don't really need to tell you that much, or any of you at home, but Bo is unconscious right now. Um, I understand that there are still detractors to his defense, but the whole point of Bo Bichette is at 24 and he provides above average offense, and you manage with what you have at shortstop, and he's certainly providing above average offense. He is in the category right now for shortstops where only names like Francisco Lindor and Trey Turner and one or two others are producing better at the plate than he is. And those guys are a lot older and a lot higher paid. So Bo is my MVP because he just continues to mash, and it's been a lot of fun to watch, and it's legitimately been pretty much in line with the team starting to go on a big run here.
Yeah, he's just been unconscious, dude. Like the man is on fire. I think potentially, who do you think was hotter? This stretch of Bo Bichette or last year when it seemed like Vladdy couldn't, like he just was hitting homer after homer?
I mean, he was hotter for longer, you know?
Yeah, but this stretch of Bo is like, I guess it was the same with Vladdy because I was gonna say this stretch of Bo is every time he's at the plate, you
Yeah.
can at least expect there's a chance at a homer.
There was a point pretty early in the year last year where it felt like Vladdy was going to homer every single game.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It's hard to compare. I can tell you, Bo this year is as hot for a stretch like this long as anyone on the team has been at any point in time. Like this is by other than Danny Jansen at the beginning of the year getting hurt and coming back and homering, and then getting hurt and coming back and
yeah, that
homering.
was crazy.
Speaking
That
of,
was wild. All right, so my MVP, you just mentioned him. I'm going Danny Jansen. That he is the man in this series. He only played 2 of the games, so that's what happens when you're a backup catcher. 2 games this series, he had 9 ABs, got hit 6 times, scored runs twice. That's because he hit a homer one time around. 3 ribeyes on that. The man was just crazy. I mean, it's insane that he has the ability to just explode at any given time. Like he goes down to Texas and the man literally just explodes for offense. Gets his season OPS back up above 800, which is kind of nuts because he hadn't been there since the very beginning of August. Actually, if you want to go above, it was the very end of July. So Jansen, a 4-hit performance in game 2 as well, which is nuts. So he really comes and delivers for the Jays in that series where they need offense, especially in that game where they win 11-7 and they needed his offense in that game. So you got to be happy with what you're getting from the backup backstop.
yeah, I mean, it's always like it feels like Danny Jansen will go 0 for 15, but then he'll hit like 2 homers in one game and homer 2 games later, you know? Like it's just, and I'm cool with that. Like we don't need him to be the consistent like Alejandro Kirk pick up 2 hits for me every game type guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, when he pops, he like takes over games. And he did that.
Totally.
And the other game he played in, he had 2 hits too. So it wasn't like it was just a 1 game thing. But yeah, it is pretty crazy. Kirk's OPS has obviously gone down since early in the year, but we didn't expect him to have like a 900 OPS this year. He's at 820 and Jansen's at 802. I mean, the whole team is pretty much somewhere between 795 and 825, which in a way you'd want someone to have more, but it's also kind of nuts that like your 1 through 8 hitters all are like above average major league hitters per the stats.
Yeah, that's nuts. All right. Well, we will get to a listener question on the other side of this break. But first, let me tell you about LinkedIn Jobs. As you gear up for fall, You need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can find you the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Pow. It's Locked On Blue Jays. It's continuing now. We got a
Wow.
question?
We do. If you want to email us lockedonbluejaysreal@gmail.com. For the YouTube audience, that's on the screen now. Please email us. We'd love to hear your words. This is from Matt, who is now a four-time emailer. So, Matt, we appreciate your love of the pod. Thank you for listening all the time and emailing us. We really appreciate it. Matt says, "Hey, guys. Just wondering what your thoughts on the new rule changes being implemented next season. I'm okay with the pitch clock, but I don't understand why they're taking away the shift. Am I missing something? Where do you guys stand on removing the shift, and how do you think it'll affect the Jays considering they shift all the time? Thanks again, Matt." Thanks for your question, Matt.
Can I go?
Go ahead,
Because
man.
for those who don't know, so I broadcast, the season's over now, but I was calling games for a high A team, the Fort Wayne Tin Caps in the Midwest League. And so all these rules, every single one of them were in our league. So I've actually seen them play out
Kind of
over
an expert, yeah.
in a 130 game season. So the pitch timer was what they're calling it at the major league level. They did call it a pitch clock for us. I think it's phenomenal. I really do. They have made it a little longer for the major leaguers in the hopes I think that they'll complain less. They're gonna complain. But it speeds up the game. People go 45 minutes. Like, what's 30 minutes? If you love baseball, shouldn't you be able to sit there? And like, first of all, yes, I can sit there, but it's not 40 minutes of baseball. They've cut out 40 minutes of nothing. Imagine like you bought a piece of meat and 75% of it was fat. Like you probably want to cut some of that off, like that's a lot of what you're not asking for. So they've cut out like random stuff. But the shift is what he really wanted to talk about. So the shift ban is an interesting one to me. Because it kind of bans the shift, but I don't think it's going to do exactly what people think. If you consider the shift to be three guys on one side of the infield, then yes, you're not allowed to do that anymore. However, in every game I did this year, almost every at bat, let's say it's a left-handed hitter, so the second baseman is deep and the first baseman is deep. The shortstop will stand right behind the second base bag up the middle. Like
Yeah, that's kind of what I assumed.
Like the ground ball up the middle that's been a base hit for 100 years is still not a base hit.
So can you still put the guy like in right field? Can the second baseman still stand in right field?
No.
Okay.
So that's a big change. He has to have
is huge.
part of his feet touching the grass.
Okay. I mean the dirt, you mean?
No, dirt or the dirt, or you're allowed to obviously go into the infield grass if you want to. That's not a problem. So yeah, I mean it's easier than hitting against a shift. And he asked why they did it. Well, everyone tries to pull the ball these days, Matt. So not you, Matt Bonaparte, but Matt asker. So it's gonna affect the Jays. I mean, like he said, the Jays shift a ton. I believe most statistics would back up that the Jays shift the most in baseball. They employ the 3-4 defense, which is not allowed anymore next year. And I saw something on some tweet, which is a great way to cite sources, that the Blue Jays are really high in the majors in defensive runs saved. a team, which again I don't really like those stats, but whatever. But but a lot of their defensive run saves are accounted for by positioning, it said, which again makes me so confused how that stat is
Makes no
calculated.
sense to me, but cool.
Yeah, but
Like,
that's what they
I don't know
said.
what that means.
So I guess they would have a worse defensive run saved. So I mean, I think the rules are mostly good. I don't really like the shift ban because if you're gonna do it, then there's this rule called the pie slice rule in the Florida State League, where basically in the shape of like a triangle or a slice of pie, they put this area up the middle that the middle infielders aren't allowed to start the play in. I'd rather them go all the way to that because it didn't feel to me like the shift was banned when I watched it this year because so many ground balls up the middle were hit at guys. Now, obviously, no one was in right field getting robbed of a base hit, but it still felt like there was some sort of shift.
Honestly, like that's the one thing I actually do really dislike about the shift is that they can just put a guy in the outfield. Um, Obviously, you're totally right that like putting a guy behind second base still doesn't exactly uh, go for the effect that necessarily it seems like they want, but maybe they do want to keep that for now just to kind of wean guys on it.
Yeah,
And
it's a
say,
good
okay, you
point.
could do this for now, but we're taking that guy out of right field. I don't know if you saw that Ryan Howard tweet, but he was like, now that the shift's gone, maybe I'll come back.
Yeah. And then he said, like, I'll leave it up to the nerds.
Yeah. Somebody replied, and I don't think this is true, but somebody replied like, "Oh, I crunched the numbers, and like, if every ball Ryan Howard hit into the shift was a hit, he would hit 472." Like, get
Oh
the heck
yeah,
out of
but
here!
every
Like,
ball
there's no way.
you hit into the shift isn't
Yeah,
just
the ground out
automatically
like
a
half the
hit.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I was thinking. I
The Blue
do
Jays
want
should
to.
sign him. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. No, it's okay. Um, how about? I know Matt didn't mention them, but how do you feel about the other things like the bigger bases?
Okay, yeah.
And what was the other
The
one? There's one other
so
rule.
tandem with the clock is the step off and timeout rules.
The stat.
Well,
Okay, so the pickoff thing. Can we talk about the pickoff thing? What is
sure.
the story with this pickoff thing? So
So
you
here's
can
how
only
it
pick
works.
off twice.
Here's how it works. So in technically you have 3 pickoffs
Okay.
/ step offs. Like they count together. You don't get like two. You can't do like 2 step offs and 2 pickoffs, and it's per plate appearance. So you can throw over once, you can throw over twice. The next time you throw over, if you don't get the guy out, then he balks over to second. So
I think
essentially
that's so dumb.
you do only have 2 pickoffs.
Come on, dude.
So
Like, what
here's
is
the
the
thing.
point of that?
Well,
So what?
I mean, it frankly like way more stolen bases. That's what I saw in the minors. Significantly more stolen
Interesting.
bases. So I don't love messing with the strategy, but every fan of baseball loves stolen bases. I don't think you'll find a single one
That's
that
true.
doesn't.
I do love stolen bases.
So like it's kind of a give and take a little bit with that one. I will say like most guys don't like they'll hold one in their back pocket, so it doesn't matter. Truthfully, like search your soul. You watch Major League Baseball. Most pickoffs are guys stepping off and lazily lobbing it over. No one tries
Correct.
to pick anyone
And
off.
I think it's a good thought. I think it's a good I can't remember what the word is, but I think it's a good
Idea.
notion. Like they wanted to like it, they have their heart and their mind is in the right place with this rule. But what happens after the second pickoff? Like the dude just takes a pretty big lead, and then like
Well,
say he
it,
uses the third one and doesn't get him, then it's a balk. Like wait, then
the
he
dude,
doesn't want to use that one. So like, what if you just take a massive lead? Like I don't know.
you got to be selective with it. And yeah, I mean, the dude can try and take a big lead. If he takes too big of a lead, someone will try and
Could
pick
get
him
picked
off.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
All
was
right.
one
I guess that
game
kind
this
of
year.
works.
There was one game this year where Alec Manoah threw over 7 times against Brett Phillips in a row.
Mm.
So I'd like to avoid that. The bigger
I guess.
bases. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go.
I was just gonna say. I guess. Well, I was gonna say. I guess it works because it kind of like, uh, is hindrance to both sides, the pitcher and the runner. But because the pitcher only has 3 or whatever, but like if the runner takes too big of a lead, like he will get picked off, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like there is a nice thing about the runner knowing that like he is likely not getting thrown out after 2 throws.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, you got to really, your second throw, you got to really be sure you want to make that throw. you
Yeah.
know. So that's interesting. That and the pitch timer are going to help stolen bases. Pitchers are going to hate it, but if the guy's and there's 2 seconds on the clock, like steal, like
Yeah.
what's he gonna do? But I think more
And
stolen
so
bases are gonna
the
be good.
clock,
Yeah.
if the clock runs out, it's a ball. Like, what is it?
So the batter has to be ready to go at 8 seconds per the major league rules. It's 15-second clock if no one's on base, 20 seconds if someone's on, so the pitcher has more time to vary up his times. Batter has to be set at 8 seconds. If he's not, although set is such a loose thing, I'm going to be interested to see how they enforce that. But if he's not, it's an automatic strike. And then if the pitcher doesn't start his motion by the end of the timer, so he doesn't have to throw by then. But if it's
You
a
just gotta
windup,
start
if he
moving.
steps to the side or kicks his leg up in the stretch, it rarely ever happens. I believe the minors said there were 0.6 violations per game. I never once saw a batter struck out on it in 130 games this year. I think I might have seen one player walked on it, and it was pretty ludicrous, to be honest, that they called that. And in terms of the pickoff thing, I will say the whole year, I never saw someone throw over 3 times. And then twice in our final series, Lake County Captains pitchers, who were the Guardians affiliate, forgot how many times they had picked off and bucked our guys over
That's pretty funny.
twice.
I like that.
It was right after the rules got approved, and we were in the middle of talking about it once on our broadcast. And we were like, oh my gosh,
There's a third one.
he just threw it over again. So, yeah, bigger bases, you're not going to notice. No one's going to notice. If your uncle tells you the bigger bases are a problem, you got to tell him to stop yelling at clouds. And yeah, bigger bases, I couldn't
They
even.
did the bigger bases for safety, right?
They're for safety, and in theory, they just a tiny bit help.
I don't think they actually helped them. Like, I was actually Old Man Yells at Cloud to begin with that, like back when they announced it, like when the lockout happened. And then like I took like an hour to think about it, and I was like, it doesn't
Who
matter.
cares? Yeah,
It literally doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter.
I asked our first baseman about it early in the year. He was like, I don't know. I just put my foot on it. Like, all right.
That's so baseball player. I don't know. I just put my foot on that thing.
One of our really high-rated prospects at the beginning of the year, too, I asked him about the pitch clock, one of our batters, and he looked at me and he said, Ben, if you're going to hit a nuke, you're going to hit a nuke. And I said, all right, cool. So
that's funny.
The young players won't care. The older players are going to care.
That's awesome. All right. Audio listeners, ads. Bang! And we move on. Thanks for the email segment from Matt. I really appreciated that. Please email us if you got any questions. Okay. The Jays are back home to face the Rays. How about that? A little rhyme scheme going on here. I don't like the Rays. I think they're annoying, but they're beatable too. We know that. So they come to town for a 5-game set, which is nuts.
Again,
a 5-game set?
It's the second.
I was about to say, didn't this already happen?
Yeah, it was the series Gosman got hurt. I went to the game and Gosman got hurt at the game I was at. It was terrible.
Yeah, because you're bad luck.
I know.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So there's a game today. There's 2 games tomorrow. And then there's a game on Wednesday, game on Thursday. So get excited, Blue Jays fans. Go to some games. Let's start. Who is your hype train for this series?
My hype train for the series is one Teoscar.
Wait. Oh, okay. I wanted to go scary. Actually, wanted to go scary first, but we already know your hype train is, so go ahead.
My hype train is one Teoscar Hernandez. He's a dad. Again, he was already a dad. But he has another kid, and he has nasty numbers against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. A 915 career OPS and 19 homers against the Rays. That's the most he's hit against any team, tied with the Red Sox. So I like Teoscar to get kind of that 2019 Fred VanVleet NBA Finals thing where he has a kid and then becomes superhuman for a couple of days or weeks or months. So I'm counting on the superhuman powers of childbirth. Not that Teoscar
Hmm.
participated in birth, but you know what I mean.
I kind of like that from you. Superhuman childbirth powers.
Oh yeah.
Um. Okay. Well, I am gonna go with Bo because, like, how could you not?
Fair.
Like, how could you not at this point, man? The dude is just like stupid. He's just cranking homers left and right, and you think he's not gonna be cranking homers against the Rays? Like, come on, it's the Rays. They throw out like any old pitcher. Luis Patino was looking like somebody stole his lunch money after the Yankees beat him up yesterday. So this guy, and the rest of the staff. The funny thing about it is you are 100% going to see every pitcher they have because you're playing 5 games. So you're going to see everybody. Bo's cranking homers, dude. This dude, he's just ridiculous. Like his season numbers have just gone so high up. Like his OPS on the year is up to 795, which is crazy because it was like around 700 not too long ago.
He could finish
Um,
the highest OPS on the team. It's
Absolutely could.
yeah.
He's crazy. In the month of September, Bo has a 500 average. He's got 22 hits in 10 games, 6 of them home runs, 18 RBI, 14 runs scored. Like he's just ridiculous. Slugging percentage over 1,000 this month. The man he's on a mission, and there's just no stopping him. So Bo is my man here. Who is your scary?
My scary likes to creep. He likes to wander. His name is Wander Franco.
He likes to creep.
Well, funny synonyms for like wandering and creep was not a good one. He doesn't like to creep. But creeping back into the lineup after a couple months off, it's Wander Franco. Because he was injured. But he's fantastic. He's like the only guy that the Rays were willing to pay big money to ever, other than Wade Boggs. Congrats, Boggs. And he just played 3-game set against the Yankees. First game back, had 3 hits and multiple doubles. Had a hit in the next one. Didn't have a hit in game 3, but he was pulled early because the Yankees were absolutely destroying them, I believe. So, Wander, my guy, is not a fun guy to go against, I will say. Like, just really good at pretty much all aspects of baseball. When the Jays played against the Rays in July with that 5-game series, he hit a big home run in that sad Kevin Gausman game I went to, and had a hit in all 4 games he played in. I mean, he's just kind of a dude, like you could just count on him to be a problem pretty consistently.
I think maybe this is a hot take, but I think that Wander is one of the face are you making over there? I think that Wander is one of the most prime candidates left for 3,000 hits.
Yeah, I mean that's a discussion for another day. Vlad's there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying Wander's a hit machine. Anyway, my hype train is another pitcher. I went Martin Perez last time. That worked out. This time I'm going to go Drew Rasmussen. Rasmussen is electric. Last time out he went 6 innings, shutty, 10 Ks against the Yankees back on September 9th. Leading up to that game, he was having a pretty crazy August. In August, he had a 157 ERA. Hitters were hitting 160 against him with a 438 opposing OPS. He only allowed 6 runs in the entire month of August. And he had 33 strikeouts in 34 and a third innings. So he is the man that has just been pitching pretty well all year long. He's had his ups and downs, but he's really been just fantastic down the stretch here. Drew Rasmussen is a man to watch for sure on the year. A 2.57 ERA, a 1.043 whip, which is really good. This guy's good. He's another one of those like Rays pitchers where they just have like a blob of DNA and they put like growth formula on it, and then like it grows into a man who throws 100 miles an hour.
I think that's where we wrap it up,
All right. Well, thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen today. Now make your second listen to Locked On MLB podcast. MLB expert, Paul Francis Sully, also known as PFS, also known as Sully, Paul Francis Sullivan. He brings humor, he brings passion, he brings a unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Ben and I are back later with another podcast talking about this Rays game, and we'll see ya tomorrow.